You grabbed a hammer, watched 3 YouTube videos, and thought you were Bob Vila? How hard could it be? Spoiler, very, very hard. And also somehow more rewarding than anything you've ever done. Let's set the stakes immediately, because this isn't just a fun weekend warrior story. This is about tens of thousands of dollars, your sanity, your marriage, and whether you ever trust a tile tutorial again. The average house flip in the United States costs somewhere between $25,000 and $75,000 in renovation work. And a massive chunk of flippers quietly admit they either went over budget, under-delivered, or both. The catalyst here is simple. Contractors are expensive, timelines are brutal, and when you're staring at a thin margin on a property, the DIY route starts whispering sweet nothings in your ear. It sounds like financial genius until you're elbow deep in a wall at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday, covered in insulation, questioning every decision you've ever made. Think of it like deciding to cut your own hair before a job interview. Theoretically possible, statistically inadvisable, and almost always a story you tell with deep regret or surprising pride. The line between those two outcomes is thinner than the drywall you just accidentally cracked. There was genuine optimism going in savings on labor, full creative control, pride of ownership, and early on, the demo phase felt electric, like you were on your own HGTV show. Then the plumbing revealed itself, the permits got complicated, and the romance faded faster than that fresh paint smell in August heat. The psychological toll is real, and people underestimate it wildly. Scott McGillivray, the Canadian real estate investor, has said repeatedly that the emotional cost of over-leveraging your own time is one of the most underreported risks in flipping, and he's not wrong. Because decision fatigue on a job site is a silent killer of profit margins. Historically, the DIY flip cycle repeats itself beautifully. Boom markets inflate confidence, YouTube inflates skill perception, and then reality deflates both with surgical precision. Every generation of new investors rediscovers that electrical work, load-bearing walls, and local code compliance are not areas where passion compensates for licensure. Here's where this fits the broader pattern. Real estate investing has always attracted the brave, the broke, and the brilliant in equal measure. And the DIY question is essentially a risk tolerance filter that separates the ones who scale from the ones who burn out. Community forums like BiggerPockets are filled with both war stories and survival guides, and the consensus is nuanced. DIY some things, never DIY others, and know the difference before you start. Let's bust a misconception right now. DIY doesn't mean doing everything yourself, and thinking it does is the #1 way to blow your timeline and your budget simultaneously. The smart play is a hybrid sweat equity on cosmetic work like painting, landscaping, and staging, while licensed pros handle structural, electrical, and plumbing without exception. The practical lesson history keeps handing us is this: protect your timeline like it's cash. Because in a flip, it literally is, since every extra month you hold a property is mortgage payments, taxes, and insurance quietly eating your profit. Moderate risk means taking on the work you can genuinely execute at a professional standard, not YouTube professional, but actually passes inspection professional. Discipline here looks like making a skills audit before you ever close on the property, writing down exactly what you'll handle and what you'll outsource, and then honoring that list even when your ego says otherwise. Process beats conviction every single time, and the investors who scale are the ones who treat their own labor like a line item, not a free resource. Philosophically, the DIY flip teaches you something no business school can, that your time has a dollar value, your ego has a cost, and humility is actually the highest ROI skill in real estate. Sizing your involvement correctly, staying consistent with your strategy, and not letting one bad tile job derail your entire investing thesis. That's the real craft. And honestly, whether the next flip is all DIY, all contractors, or somewhere beautifully in between, being prepared with a clear plan, a realistic budget, and an honest skill assessment means you can be genuinely comfortable with whatever outcome the project delivers. The ones who lose in this game aren't the ones who make mistakes, they're the ones who make the same mistake twice without ever writing it down. So if you're standing in that empty house right now, hammer in hand, future uncertain, just know that every great investor has a story that sounds exactly like yours, and most of them are doing just fine. The flip doesn't define you. The lessons you extract from it do. Whether you're ready to dive into your first investment property, need reliable contracting work done the right way, or want to connect with lenders who actually understand real estate investors, check out our links in the description below and let's get you started.